probably don't know who Willie Simpson is, but you should. He's the author of this, The Beer Bible. He's also one of Australia's premier beer writers. So when Willie Simpson...
Whoa. What do we have to do with Australia?
Beer is a universal language.
Well, they speak English in Australia.
Come on, man.
Yeah, beer, universal language.
Recently, Willie Simpson proclaimed that a bar called The Local in the Melbourne suburb of St Kilda was the best beer bar in all of Australia. The best. We had to check it out.
Welcome to the Beer Show, the Down Under edition. The inspiration for the Local Taphouse, it came to my business partner Steve, who's a bit of a visionary. He's got a brain full of ideas that are always going nuts. Let's do this, let's do that, let's do the other thing. One day he came to me and he said, you know, I've had this idea about a dedicated craft beer bar, and would you be interested in getting on board and doing it with me? And I said, I'd absolutely love to. He had the St Kilda Local at the time, and which never was big enough to fulfill the vision of this great craft beer bar. So we absolutely gutted the entire place except for that front facade, and we completely rebuilt it from the ground up and turned it into the Local Taphouse. We closed it for 9 months while we did all the renovations, and we reopened it in February 2008 as the Local Taphouse. We've got 20 different beers on tap, from mainly 80% or so from Australia, 75% perhaps, fantastic local beers. We also have quite a few international beers come through our taps, from everywhere, from parts of Scandinavia, a lot from the States, Canada, Italy now, Germany, Belgium, you name it. And it's, we go through about 350 different beers every year, and it's something that we are extremely passionate about. So beer is very much front and centre of everything that we do. To be called the best beer bar in the land by Willie Simpson is, you know, we're very proud of that, and it actually means a lot coming from someone like Willie, who has been a fantastic ambassador for craft beer for longer than anyone else I can think of. The States are really the inspiration for the beer scene here in Australia, as well as a lot of other beer scenes around the world. The States probably was a real early adopter, if you like, in terms of the craft beer scene. From what I understand, it really sort of started to happen in the late 70s with places like Sierra Nevada and soon after Sam Adams. In the 5 years that we've had the Local Taphouse, we've seen phenomenal changes happen. As I mentioned before, people asking for beer by style as opposed to just by brand, a proliferation of microbreweries. It's really a national phenomenon, although the greatest number tend to be in Victoria at the moment. We don't have as traditional a beer culture as, say, the UK or Germany or Belgium, which has almost been restrictive for those countries. They feel that they have to brew within styles that are very accepted and traditional, whereas the States, because it's a relatively new country, and because they had such a gap of no great craft brewing for such a long time, and then all of a sudden it started to happen, they kind of threw the rule book out the window and started to make all these fantastic beers that were pushing the boundaries with a lot more hops, engineering new types of hops, breeding new types of hops, coming up with all sorts of different recipes and taking traditional styles and changing them a little bit. Much like in the States where the Craft Brewers Association is very strong, here there's a Craft Brewers Association that's developing as well, and it's a very sharing experience as opposed to the big boys who hate each other. Craft brewers here tend to love each other and support each other, and it's a really great, tight industry to be involved in.